HercuWall is the insulated concrete panel system that redefines the speed and efficiency of construction. Panels are precision-built off-site and delivered ready to install, reducing labor, eliminating waste, and streamlining every stage of the build. Entire neighborhoods can rise in days instead of months. Faster timelines, fewer variables, and homes that are stronger, more energy efficient, and built to last. Before you begin working with the HercuWall system, make sure you have all the necessary tools and safety equipment: utility knife, pry bar, concrete nail gun, impact driver, hand saw or circular saw, tape measure, level, laser level, marker or pencil, scaffolding or ladders, clamps, 5-in-1 painter's tool, screw gun, rebar tie wire twister, straight cut aviation snips, rafter square or speed square, chalk line, ready mix concrete per HercuWall mix specification, concrete pump, grout pump, 1.5 to 2-inch hose, steel trowel for concrete finishing, concrete pencil vibrator, cordless preferable, 4-foot flexible shaft, hot knife kit, elastomeric sealant, concrete nails 1-inch and 2.5-inch, modified truss Phillips head screws, number 8 by 3/4 inch, self-drilling, zinc-plated, number 12 hex head self-tapping screws, 1 5/8 inch, 1 5/8 inch wood screws, 3-inch wood screws. Rebar is specified. Rebar tie wire. Bracing using 2x4 or 2x6 lumber as required. Inspect and prepare the foundation before installing the panels. Ensure that the reinforcing dowels extend about 3 inches or 7.5 centimeters along the perimeter of the future walls. Verify the slab dimensions and clean the perimeter of dirt and debris. Position the rebar so it does not interfere with the door openings, and keep it within 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters of the HercuWall panel center line. Follow engineering specifications. The spacing of dowels must not exceed the values indicated by the structural engineer. Check slab flatness. If there are variations greater than 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters over 10 feet, correct them before installation. If reinforcing dowels are missing, consult the project engineer for an approved solution. The first step is to lay out and square the track on the slab. We snap chalk lines around the perimeter of the foundation to mark the inside edge of the HercuWall track and define the exact position of the future walls. Second, verify that the lines match the track layout shown in the project documents. This ensures proper alignment and placement of all panels. Third, check the door openings are in the correct location. Place a mark on the slab for the center line of all window openings. This is a good check of panel layout once you start installing panels. Do not install the bottom track in the door openings, so be sure to mark them in advance. Start at the corner. Place an 8x8 inch pre-made corner track piece and align it with the chalk line. If you don't have a pre-made corner piece, cut a 45-degree miter using a piece of bottom track. Do not overlap track to form corners. Next, orient the first track. Place the inside flange along the chalk line. The interior leg flange is taller, while the exterior leg can be recognized by the drainage holes and shorter leg flange. Align the punched holes in the track with most of the dowels. Where they don't match, cut the bottom edge of the track with metal snips. Before fastening the track to the slab, it must be sealed to the slab to prevent water intrusion. There are 2 methods that can be used to seal the track. Clean and level the slab surface beforehand, applying either method. 1. Apply continuous elastomeric sealant in a 1/4 inch bead, placed about 1 inch outside the chalk line on the interior side of the track. Seal all track joints, both horizontal and vertical. 2. The other option is to install foam sill sealer. Use a 3.5 inches wide sill seal. Place under the track on the interior side. If the sealer has ribs, face them down toward the slab. Install it flush with the inside edge of the track. Do not block the track's punched square holes, though partial overlap is acceptable. Lap all joints and secure the sealer at overlaps and in any slab depressions. Now place the track on the slab, aligning on the chalk lines. Track should be butted up to each piece. Do not overlap the track at the joints. Fasten the track to the slab using electric, power-actuated, or pneumatic fasteners. Place fasteners along the track center line at about 24 inches on center. Use at least 2 fasteners for short runs. This fastening is only to prevent movement during panel installation and concrete placement. Continue installation around the perimeter. All corners must be joined with either a corner element or a miter cut. At door openings, terminate the track before the opening. Note: the bottom track is not structural. It may be cut locally to bypass dowels or utilities projecting from the slab. Place the first corner panel labeled 001 into the bottom track, making sure it is fully seated in the guide. Set the panel plumb in both directions using a level. Secure the panel by driving a number 8 3/4 inch screw with a wide modified truss head through the bottom track into the metal corner of the panel. After securing the corner panel, align it carefully and make sure it is perfectly plumb. This step is critical to ensure that the walls remain straight and true while installing the rest of the panels. To plumb the panel, install 2x4 braces from the slab to the outside corner of the panel on the exterior of the building, 1 brace on each side toward the top of the panel. Use a level to plumb the panel on each side of the corner. Once the panel is aligned, attach the 2x4 bracing to the slab to lock the braces in place. This creates a plumb starting point to install the rest of the panels and makes it easy to maintain a plumb and level wall throughout the installation. Now move on to the installation of the next panels. Place the second panel right next to the corner panel. Lower the panel into the bottom track and carefully slide it into position, ensuring that the tongue fully engages with the groove of the first panel. Make sure the tongue and groove connection locks completely and that both panels sit flush. Check alignment with a level regularly to confirm that the panels remain perfectly plumb and have not shifted. Secure the panel by driving a screw through the bottom track into the HercuStrip metal insert, so the panel stays firmly in place. Repeat this process for the following panels until you assemble a wall section that is 12 feet long. This creates the first rigid section of wall, which will serve as the foundation for the entire structure. At this point, the assembly line process can start. The crew can split up, with some of the crew installing panels. Other crew members can fall back and start installing bracing and planking. Once the bracing and planking are up, they can start installing the top track. This process can continue throughout the remaining install. After completing the first 12 feet of wall, 2 installers can fall back and start installing scaffolding, planking, guardrails, and plumbing the wall. The first brace should be attached to the first available HercuStrip from the corner that allows the scaffolding to be placed safely. Then place bracing every 8 to 10 feet. If you are using an integrated scaffold and brace system, install it exactly as specified by the manufacturer. Always attach the brace to a HercuStrip. Once the brace is attached to the HercuWall, use a level on the HercuStrip to check the alignment of the panel. Adjust the panel with the brace until the panel is plumb. Then use a concrete nail gun to pin the brace to the slab. After the bracing is secured to the HercuWall and slab, the crew can install planking and guardrails and start installing top track. Part of the crew continues installing panels. The other crew members can follow behind and continue installing the bracing and top tracks. Important: install all braces on one side of the HercuWall system. Because the panels are solid, bracing on both sides is not required. If you are using wood bracing, add several braces on the opposite side for extra stability. And remember, under challenging site, soil, or weather conditions, add more braces to keep the wall straight during concrete placement. Now install the interior corner track. First, lift the inside corner piece above the corner and carefully align it with the groove cutouts in 2 adjacent panels, usually between panel number 2 and the last panel in the installation process. Then, lower it smoothly into place so it seats onto the bottom track. After that, fasten the piece with screws, driving them into the inside corner track only at the top and bottom tracks. Add braces and install the top track. The top track has several purposes. 1. To lock the panels together and give the wall additional rigidity. 2. Level out the top of the wall. 3. Act as a screed for the concrete pour. Start at the corner, on the side where the braces are installed. This ensures that the wall geometry remains correct. The top track has 2 flanges. One is 1 inch, the other is 2 inches. Face the narrow 1-inch flange towards the panel core. Position the 2-inch flange so it extends on both sides, inside and outside. Cut the track at the corners. Either make a 45-degree miter cut or trim the protruding flanges to allow the track to butt up against each piece in the corners. The tracks must never overlap. But the track ends together so that each joint lands directly over the HercuStrip metal insert. This allows you to fasten both ends of the track with screws. Verify that all tongue and groove joints remain tightly engaged between the panels. If there is a gap between panels at the top of the wall, pull them together to remove gaps before fastening to HercuStrip. Fasten the top track using number 8 screws, 3/4 inch long, driving them through the HercuStrip metal inserts. To keep the wall straight until concrete placement, stagger the joints of the inner and outer tracks instead of aligning them. For overall alignment, use a string line or a laser to ensure a uniform wall height. Now install the Keystone panel, the final element of the wall. This should be a smaller panel at the end of the panel installation process. Unlike the other panels, it cannot be slid in from the side. First, check the dimensions of the panel and the opening to ensure a precise fit. If the space is too tight, push the adjacent panels together slightly to widen the opening. Then, lift the closing panel above the top track. Align the tongue and groove joint and lower the panel straight down into place. Finally, seat the panel firmly until its top edge is level with the neighboring panels. The HercuWall system uses built-in vertical HercuStrip elements, so you don't need to add extra vertical rebar for standard panels. However, you must place horizontal reinforcement around the perimeter of the walls in the top bond beam. Set the rebar into the factory-installed hooks inside the panels. Typically, this is one number 4 bar, but the exact size, spacing, and quantity will be defined by the project engineer. Lap splice the rebar according to code. At corners, install pre-bent L-shaped bars, 2 feet by 2 feet with a 90-degree bend. Tying the rebar to the hooks is optional, but tie the lap splices to keep them in place during concrete placement. Keep in mind, additional rebar, if required, will be factory installed. Some panels, such as reinforced shear walls, may require vertical rebar. In that case, install the vertical bars first, before placing the horizontal reinforcement in the bond beam. Panels are installed in sequential order. Openings are installed along with standard panels as they occur in the wall. Openings are assembled either in place on the track or on the ground and stood up and installed in the track. The HercuWall system provides 2 types of window panels. The first option is factory-assembled panels, delivered as a single piece, suitable for openings up to 3 feet wide. The second option is larger openings, shipped in multiple parts. In this frame, install the factory window panel. Place the panel into the bottom track next to the previous one and slide it until the tongue and groove connection fully engages. Then, fasten the panel through the bottom track with screws, driving into each HercuStrip. After that, install the top track and add a brace according to the standard instructions. Finally, apply temporary bracing inside the opening to keep the opening straight during concrete placement. Now let's look at installing a larger window assembly, which comes in 4 parts: 2 jambs, a sill, and a header. First, set the first panel into the bottom track next to the previously installed panel. Slide it until the tongue and groove locks fully engage. Before installation, assemble the window opening completely on the floor in a horizontal position, building it up section by section. Start by placing the sill into position as the base of the assembly. Next, set the left jamb into place against the sill. Shift it so that the sill's metal tabs engage behind the jamb casing. Lift the jamb slightly so the sill tab slides behind the jamb casing. Then lower it back into position. Then install the right jamb the same way, making sure the sill also seats behind that jamb casing. Once both jambs are in place, lower the header down between the 2 jambs so that the metal locks fully seat behind the jamb casings on both sides. Check that all jamb connections align correctly and that the opening is straight and square. Fasten the jambs and the sill with 2 screws through the jamb casing into each tab on the sill. Then fasten a screw at the interior and exterior corners of the jamb, sill, and header intersections. Secure the joints with screws at every intersection of horizontal and vertical HercuStrip inserts. At each jam-to-sill and jam-to-head connection, drive 2 additional screws, 2 inches from the center and 3/4 of an inch from the casing joint. Once fully assembled and fastened, lift the window opening upright and set it into the track at the installation location. Set braces to plumb the jams, then install the top track as shown earlier. Finally, add temporary bracing to hold the shape of the opening during the concrete pour. Now move on to installing the door panel. A typical man door will come pre-assembled from the factory. Every HercuWall door panel comes with factory-installed 20-gauge galvanized steel or XPVC jams. They are pre-sized to the opening, which speeds up installation and reduces job site waste. Remove the temporary brace placed at the bottom of the door opening. Set the door panel into the bottom track beside the previously installed panel. Slide it until the tongue and groove joint fully engages. If the bottom track extends into the opening, trim it back carefully, but never closer than 2 inches from the edge of the opening. Measure the width of the opening at the top and adjust the bottom so both dimensions match. Check the squareness with a framing square to confirm the opening is straight. Secure the panel by driving screws through the bottom track into each HercuStrip. Add braces as described earlier to keep the panel plumb. And always install temporary bracing to ensure the opening holds its geometry during the concrete pour. Note: some door panels may require additional bracing or formwork. Always verify the project package for specific instructions. Install the top track the same way as with standard panels. Now let's install the wide openings. Set the first jam into the bottom track beside the previously installed panel. Engage the tongue and groove joint with the adjacent panel and make sure it locks fully. Fasten the jam by driving screws through the bottom track into each HercuStrip. Install the second jam at the required distance from the first. This spacing defines the clear width RO of the opening. Place the header. Lower it between the 2 jams until the factory metal tabs lock securely behind the jam casing. Check that all joints are tight. Measure the opening width at the top and adjust the bottom so the dimensions match. Verify squareness with a framing square and ensure the jams are plumb with a level and speed square. Secure the second jam by driving screws through the bottom track into each HercuStrip. Install the top track as with standard panels. If required by the project, add extra reinforcement according to the construction documents. Brace the assembly following the specified bracing scheme in the installation guide. Note: some wide openings may require special bracing layouts or additional formwork. Always refer to the project documentation for site-specific requirements. Now install the standard reinforced bracing for wide openings. Set vertical 2x6 boards on both sides of the opening, running from the top of the header down to the bottom of the opening or slab. Fasten horizontal 2x6 boards along the header so they span the entire opening between the verticals. Install additional vertical 2x6 posts to support the header. Place them at intervals of no more than 24 inches and at every joint between horizontal boards. Attach extra horizontal 2x4 boards between the posts, alternating their placement on the side and outside of the frame. Install the top track. Brace the opening with temporary supports as described earlier. After installing all panels and openings, seal the system. Apply reinforced tape to all panel joints. Cover vertical and horizontal connections, as well as corners and seams of the header and sill joints. Pay special attention to headers and jams of wide openings when taping. Clean and dry the surface before applying the tape. This step creates a reliable barrier against moisture and air, ensuring full airtightness of the system. Before starting concrete placement, perform a final inspection of all HercuWall panels. Fixing mistakes after pouring will be extremely difficult, so this check is mandatory. Verify that all braces are installed and secured. Check that the walls are straight and perfectly plumb. Confirm every panel is fastened to both bottom and top tracks. Inspect that all reinforcement is in place with proper overlaps. Install all additional braces as required by the project. Ensure scaffolding is assembled strictly according to the manufacturer's requirements. Examine panels for any damage that could affect the pour. Repair them if necessary before starting. Mark locations of embedded items, rafter connections, and anchor bolts along the top of the wall. And most importantly, confirm that the jurisdictional inspection is complete and formal approval is received. Only then proceed with concrete placement. Before starting the concrete pour, prepare all tools and equipment. Have the following ready on site. Set up a concrete delivery system. A grout pump or boom pump with a flexible hose, 1.5 to 2 inches in diameter. Prepare a spread flow cone, inverted slump cone, and test plate for ASTM C1611 testing. Have a pencil vibrator and/or external form vibrator to consolidate the mix. Keep ready finishing tools, trowel, float, and spatula. Provide a bucket of water and sponges for cleaning tools and surfaces. Engage a certified ACI concrete testing service to verify mix parameters. Prepare a concrete trowel for leveling the surface. Set up all materials for site prep, pump priming, and cleaning. Stock extra fasteners, screws, and 2 foot by 2 foot by 3/4 inch plywood gussets to be prepared in advance for fixing a potential blowout during the concrete pour. HercuWall is repairable. If you have any questions, please contact your Nudura technical rep. For a more detailed overview of the installation process, please refer to the installation guide available at nudura.com. Pre-pour safety and site check. Ensure that all crew members are wearing the required personal protective equipment, PPE. Verify that all scaffolding and ladders comply with the manufacturer's safety requirements. Prepare a designed area for pump washout, concrete testing, and discharge. Confirm that all embedded items are in place and accessible. Select locations for the concrete truck and pump. These areas must have stable ground. Provide safe access for equipment. Be clear of overhead and underground utilities. And be within the planned reach for concrete placement. Check that the pump is equipped with a hose of the correct diameter and length to reach all wall sections. Schedule the pump to arrive 30 minutes before the concrete truck. Review placement procedures with the pump operator, including delivery rate and agreed hand signals for communication. Before placing the concrete, it is critical to verify its flowability to ensure proper consolidation within HercuWall panels without causing segregation or excessive pressure on the forms. Test the concrete spread flow in accordance with ASTM C1611. Perform a spread flow test immediately upon delivery, using the ASTM C1611 method for self-consolidating concrete. Use an inverted slump cone and a large flat test plate. Lift the cone and allow the concrete to spread freely. Measure the spread diameter. It must be between 21 and 25 inches. This is equivalent to about a 9.5 to 10 inch slump. Important: most concrete suppliers hold back a small amount of water in the mix. Confirm with the driver how much water was withheld. Only this water may be added to adjust flowability. If the spread exceeds 25 inches, mix the load in the truck drum for another 10 minutes. Repeat the test until the spread is back within range. HercuWall panels are filled in multiple lifts to control hydrostatic pressure, prevent panel distortion, and ensure complete consolidation of the mix around reinforcement and inside all cavities. This staged process minimizes the risk of blowouts and guarantees structural integrity. Concrete placement in HercuWall walls. Filling is done in several lifts. First lift: raise the concrete in the columns to a height of 2 to 3 feet, allowing 3 to 5 seconds per cell. Second lift: raise the level to 6 to 8 feet. Note: during the first 2 lifts, do not fill the bond beam or lintels. Third lift: bring the concrete to the top of the panel, fully filling the bond beam and lintels. Optional fourth lift: top off any low spots as needed. 5 main steps of placement. Pump preparation and priming. Performed by the pump operator. The pump and hoses must be fully primed with concrete, flushing out all priming fluid before concrete enters the wall system. First lift placement. Begin at a corner and move along the building perimeter. Keep discharge rates slow and controlled, increasing gradually, but never faster than the concrete can naturally flow. Direct the hose at a downward angle, not vertically, to ensure proper flow. Fill each cell for 3 to 5 seconds, then move to the next. Only fill up to 2 to 3 feet height. Do not fill bond beams or lintels yet. A vibrator follows 10 to 15 feet behind the hose. gently touching the HercuStrip or rebar to dislodge residual concrete from reinforcement and assist with even consolidation. Do not over-vibrate. Proceed to the second lift of the pour. Begin from the same corner as the first lift. Keep the concrete flow rate low. Angle the hose nozzle at a downward angle rather than vertically to maintain proper flow dynamics and ensure better integration of the concrete with the HercuWall system. Fill each cell for 5 to 8 seconds, then move to the next one. Again, a vibrator follows 10 to 15 feet behind the hose, gently touching the HercuStrip or rebar to dislodge residual concrete from reinforcement and assist with even consolidation. Do not over-vibrate. During the second pass, ensure that the sill areas beneath window openings are also properly filled. By the end of this pass, the columns should reach the bottom edge of the bond beam. Window sills are usually filled on the second pass. You may need to fill the jam studs a little longer than 5 to 8 seconds, like the other studs, to get the sill to fill up. The concrete will flow down the jam and into the sill. It should fill the sill if the mix is flowing properly. If the sill is not filling up, use the designated sill port opening and place the hose in the sill port and pour concrete directly into the sill. Prior to starting the pour, place a temporary hole cover, a 5 by 5 inch piece of plywood or OSB, securing it on one side of the sill with a screw. After filling, rotate it over the port and attach the other side of the cover with a screw to hold the concrete in place. When filling window jambs, apply the external form vibrator very sparingly, placing it against the lower part of the HercuStrip and sill casing to help the concrete pass beneath the window opening if necessary. Now we move on to the final third lift of the pour. Begin from the same corner as before, keeping the flow rate low. At this stage, all cells, bond beams, lintels, and sills are filled completely. The vibrator should follow the hose and make sure the top beam and lintels are fully consolidated on the final pass. It is recommended that a third worker follow the hose with a trowel, leveling the concrete along the top of the wall and directing excess into low spots. At the final stage, level the top surface of the concrete bond beam using a flat trowel. Use the top edge of the track as a guide to maintain the correct elevation. After that, install all embedded components, J-bolts and truss anchors, strictly in accordance with the approved project documentation, the manufacturer's recommendations, and standard practice. This step can be started in parallel with the final pour, without waiting for its full completion. After the pour is complete, but before the concrete fully sets, walk along all the walls to verify that they remain perfectly plumb and straight. If any shifting has occurred during placement, adjust the walls immediately. The next step is dismantling scaffolding and temporary bracing in accordance with the system manufacturer's instructions. In most cases, bracing can be removed during the installation of floor systems or roofing. However, openings and lintels must remain braced until the concrete reaches a strength of 3,000 psi. If lintels are expected to carry load, wait until the concrete has reached the specified design strength of 4,000 psi.